just interested in the 50 crore subsidy. A, getting the approval with straight away from agricultural land, that get us CLU to make it into industrial, which the prices would suddenly shoot up of the land, and then they would just sit on it for real estate. It was never the intention to put up the mega food park. That seemed to be what a lot of people were doing. A lot of people seem to be interested in, because the moment you get an approval, the ministry used to sanction 5 crores of rupees. So they were only interested in doing the work with the ministry's share without putting in any of their own things.
Okay.
So there were a lot of things which I found that which actually needed to be rectified. So one of the things which I did, that all the projects which had not shown any progress on the ground, you get 6 months in which you have to get the land. You have to form an SPV, a Special Purpose Vehicle Registered Company Act. You had to get your bank loan, DPR made. These were the basics. So people who were not in 6 months but in 9-10 months also had not even done the basics of acquiring the land or getting the bank loan sanction or even forming a company. They were obviously not interested. So we looked into each case specifically, had a one-to-one with them, found that some of them are probably not going to see the light of day for a long time. And I found that the expression of interest which we had asked for the new mega food parks, there were 150 people who had applied, and some of them very good projects. So first of all, I decided to make a very transparent system of numbering for the process of selection. And looking at the mistakes from the past, we tried to start off by giving slightly more marks to the people who already had the land, so that we would not waste 9-10 months to like a certain park which has been in the news for 4 years, you've not been able to get the land, kind of a thing, So you start off, because the idea is to create this infrastructure, because only when the infrastructure gets created will it help the farmers, will it bring down the wastage, will it generate employment. So my aim is to ensure the infrastructure comes up on the ground, and this infrastructure is such, this industry is such, which cannot function without the raw material of the farmer. So obviously when the industry comes up, the demand for the raw material is going to come, which is going to benefit the farmers besides providing employment and all. So my aim is to bring up the infrastructure within the time frame that was my mandate, and to create this environment where processing gets a boost, thus bringing down wastage and thus bringing down inflation. So we did a transparent system of marking, trying to give extra marks to those points, who had the land, who had the change of land use, who had the environment clearances, who had these things. So now that the new ones that get sanctioned are already getting started with that lead work already being done. And the people who had done nothing and just sat on the land and not moved a finger, to get on with it and give it to the people who want to do something. 17 people who had not done anything, who had just got the in-principle approval and done nothing beyond that.
Okay, and after the in-principle approval, they got the 5 crore grant, as in the first 5 crore? Okay.
No, they did not even get. Some of them got, okay. Then we asked them to get it back and give it back, because they had not met any of the other conditions also.
Right.
And plus I changed it. Now, as of now onwards, in the new scheme, which I have modified the guideline, you will first use your 5 crores, and when we see worth 5 crores, then the ministry will release that share of grant. So you get your money after doing the work. So I have changed that system also. That was another change which I made. The only thing where I compromised was on that even if they had started work with the money from the ministry, I did not cancel it, because some work had started. My aim being that it should come up. Now, of course, with the change in the system, we made it clear to them that you will have to put in your money, and that's when you're going to get the next grant.
Right.
So the people who had started work, I did not touch them, but people who had done nothing and didn't seem to show any intentions of doing anything except write letters for extension and be given more time, we decided to, interministerial committee decided to take a decision and allot to the people who already seem to have that head start and who would put it up within the time frame. What I found was that the people, once they put up the core infrastructure, which is the promoter company, when they put up the basic infrastructure, a lot of them did not seem interested in subleasing for others to come. The whole concept of the mega food park was that when the common facility comes up, smaller people can come in and use those common facilities without having to make the investment.
Precisely.
But they seem to want to sit on that balanced land and use it as a real estate thing and not sublease it by either making the sublease amount so high that it was more viable for a person to go buy some land outside the park and set it up there, where at least the land would be in his name and it would appreciate with time, rather than lease it and pay that to the promoter inside the mega food park, So that was another thing, which again, the last 5 crores of the subsidy I've held up, that until you've got at least 25% or 30% of other units working inside, I'm not going to release the end amount. So I've changed that also to ensure we cover up for that. If you don't do that, you lose out on a bit of your grant. So we've tried to do a lot of hand holding. Also there's an investors portal also where investors can ask questions. I also had young entrepreneurs come up and say that we're small apple orchard owners and we want to tie up with someone making apple juice. So they can put up their query when a big person who's wanting to tie up, a cold chain owner or a mega food park owner or some cold apple juice company knows how to. So there's this portal which is a meeting place for investors and entrepreneurs both. So we've tried to do that, but like ultimately I said the idea is to create an environment to create the infrastructure, boost the infrastructure, because infrastructure development will lead to manufacturing, manufacturing will generate jobs, and of course farmers' raw material, like I said, will be in demand. So it's I feel the industry and the farmer has a potential of going hand in hand, because if this industry invests in the input to the farmer, which are the good sweet seeds which will give you better yield for your produce, which will in return I'll pick up from you. It helps the farmer who is totally dependent on the rain gods for his produce, either living or dying or getting anything out of it. And here he'll have someone hand holding him and giving him better techniques and better kind of investment opportunities, and you will have an industry that will gain from this. Now, if you look at the wastages, the figures are mind-boggling. A population which is second largest in the world, increasing by 1.5% every year. Obviously lands of cultivation are shrinking with this increasing population. So where's the space for wastage? So my prime focus is that we have to make it zero wastage, and for that you have to create the infrastructure so that the farmer is not forced to throw it on the streets because he's not getting even that amount when he goes to sell it. There should be a storage where he can store it, or there can be a unit where he can pulp it and process it and keep the availability there, so that these crazy inflation, you suddenly see prices of onion going sky high and everybody's kitchen budget going haywire because tomatoes are costing a bomb and onions are costing a bomb, and the government is worried. Why should that exist? If that same onion when it was in glut, or that same tomato which was in surplus could have been processed and made into tomato paste or onion paste just the way it is in the Western world, then even if onion prices touch the sky, you would be able to pick up a bottle of onion paste at a reasonable rate and still have your kitchen budgets intact. One is of course 70 new mega food parks which have been announced, 30 new cold chains, as well as looking at it from the fiscal side. 2,000 crore corpus in NABARD was created in the last budget, especially to encourage units to come up inside mega food parks. Like I said that it would be cheaper for a person to put it up outside because the land would be in his name. Now with NABARD giving you affordable credit to put up inside a mega food park where you will get a bank loan at 13-14%, you'll get it at 9%, so it makes your project that much cheaper. So this corpus for the mega food parks, priority sector lending by RBI for the processing sector, bringing down the excise duty on plant and machinery from 10% to 6%. These were all certain steps taken to boost this sector, to make it competitive, so that ultimate processed food becomes the Aam Aadmi's food. It is not the Khas Aadmi's food. Even if I'm talking about creating this industry, my vision is to help the backbone of our population, which is the farmer, who I feel is the least in a position to help himself because he's too dependent. He's dependent for his input prices, he's dependent for his MSP prices, he's dependent on the weather gods for his crop. So he's totally dependent. He does not have the strength to be able to further himself. So today I think it is essential that a farmer must be in a position to value add to his product to increase, enhance his income. And my vision being that there should be infrastructure available, that whatever the farmer grows, processing it should be within his reach, within his village reach, so that be it the family which stores it or the family which processes it, then the son can go and market it somewhere, So each family unit of the farmer turns into an entrepreneur rather than just being a farming community where the son is now not interested in farming, so he goes into the city to look for a job. Why should he look for a job? Why should he become a skilled entrepreneur in his own area and use the raw material of his father to further his own business? See, the gestation period, like I said, of our food parks is anyway 30 months. We made it 30 months, earlier it was 24 months. So it's already a long gestation period. So of course my targets are very clear that timelines are met. If you're supposed to do certain work within 6 months and come for your first set of the grant, you must do it within 6 months. So to push that, and if you're getting held up either by the state government or another department in the central government. How can I facilitate that to ensure that the serious players are not stuck in the red tape zone? So be it decreasing the interface in my own ministry by making everything online, by making a transparent system, by reducing the paperwork so that they don't have to come here and hope that they get their grant released in time. It should be all very automatic. It gets uploaded, it gets checked, and the grant gets released. If they're having a problem with the state governments, how they should be able to tell me, and if I can put in a request either through my ministers of that state or my MPs of that state, or call up the state CM or write to them, or, in every way to. My aim is that my 42 mega food parks come up as soon as possible within the time frame, which is then going to show me as to what impact it has on the ground, and I believe it can have a very positive and major impact. So basically 3 within the first 1 year itself we've done. So these will be, 2 are already operational, third one is going to become operational, and like I said, my aim is that within this year maybe at least 2 more. So within our first 18 months we should have 5 mega food parks operational at least. I do think like one of the most popular ones, or which I would say has impacted the best, is the first one which came up, which was Patanjali, which was run by Baba Ramdev.
Yeah, I visited, like both of us visited.
Yeah,
Okay, and
it's
I
lovely.
think it's had an amazing impact
Absolutely.
on the farmer, so that's the potential that it has. So of course our aim is to try and turn each one not to a Patanjali where it's all just for one person's utilization. The idea of this is that other people can come and use those common facilities also. The 2 that I inaugurated, one was Tumkur, which was by the Kishore Biani Group, is again really modern state-of-the-art infrastructure, copy of the latest technology from Japan. That is also doing very well. And the one in Punjab in Fazilka that we did, which I also went and visited, that also has taken off really well. Now that's another classic case of him. No more other units coming up there. They're trying to make it into a family-owned kind of a thing. So how to get them a tie-up to ensure that more people can come in over there. So what has already been done, I can't change that. I can just try and use the subsidy to push them in a certain direction. But I can definitely ensure that in the 17 which I have sanctioned, that by the time you come for your second grant, there must be tie-ups already in place. By the time you come for your third grant, those units should also start putting up in place. And by the time you get your final grant, at least 25-30% of the units have also opened up simultaneously. So I think this is one of the sectors which has put in a huge amount of investment in the infrastructure sector. I mean, you can talk about highways and power, and after that I would say these 17 mega food parks have, for that infrastructure thrust, the kind of money that we are putting is going to create. These 17 parks alone are going to create an investment of, bring in an investment at least 2,300 crores. The 42 mega food parks will probably bring in 5,000 crores, and the turnover of these 42 mega food parks is probably going to be something like 10,000 crores and creating about 5 lakh jobs and benefiting something like 12 lakh farmers. So the impact of this infrastructure is going to be pretty major for Make in India. And at the same way, in ease of doing business, like I said, we're trying to reduce our paperwork, make the system more transparent. So with both these things, for investors to come in and have ease of doing business and to have infrastructure available to immediately plug and play and start doing business, this is a huge step in the direction of Make in India. The cabinet will take whether they want to sanction more. Yes, there are some states who still don't have a single mega food park, some of the big states, where I'm very keen that at least every state should have 1 or 2. And definitely the states that don't have any special case should be made out for sanctioning for them at least. That's something I will go to the cabinet with once you see the impact on the ground, and I want to first work at these 42, out of which just 5 of them have operationalized. Let at least 50% of them start off on the ground, and let's start feeling the impact and then start with. But I feel along with the mega food park, there's a bigger potential for cold chain, which is also 30 of them that we are announcing today, and there are 153 that are totally being 108 which are already sanctioned and 30 more which we are sanctioning, so 138 totally. This to form a seamless grid from the farmer to the consumer is what is extremely important, and this takes lesser amount of time. So I would actually ask for more grants to be released for this cold chain, which can immediately the impact can be felt.
So you plan to marry both ends, and then
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so anything else on this you would like to discuss on the marrying of the cold chain and
Well, we just look at trying to form a cold chain grid in the entire country from the producing areas to the consuming areas. It should be done seamlessly with minimum amount of wastage. And for that, whether it's a cold storage or it's reefer vans for the transportation, or try and link up with the railways to provide in every passenger train a bogie where these can be transported at a faster pace, or bringing in reefer trucks which are solar panelled. One's going to look at every aspect that one can.
Right. So in all there would be 130 cold chains.
138.
38.
And these 138 cold chains should, today the cold chain gap of the requirement is something like 29 lakh million tons, and in the country approximately. And these 138 will just create about 4 lakh million tons of cold storage. So we still have a long way to go.